Hello. Once again, I want to say thank you so much for joining me on this live sessions. So, if you're watching the replay, whether on LinkedIn or on YouTube, welcome once again. We'll continue on our discussion on personal leadership development. And today we'll be looking at 4 questions that we can ask ourselves to help us on our personal leadership development. One of the reasons why we're doing this was because a new year is coming and we're looking for how we can end the year very strong, as well as prepare for the upcoming year, which I'm very excited about. And for my viewers and listeners in the United States, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I had a good one, and I hope you enjoyed some good time with your family and loved ones. So the first questions we'll start today is asking ourselves, what do we want to learn? This question is very important because it draws us to intentionality. What do you want to learn? And when you're able to figure out what you want to learn, what you're interested in, then we can move to the next question. And how do you pick what do you want to learn? You could pick it from the place of curiosity, things that you want to be curious about, or areas of personal development. You look at this year and see what areas do I want to work on based on my analysis for this year, based on the feedback I've gotten, or if you did a personal assessment, what are the growth areas that you needed to work on? What are those gaps that you need to fill? So based on that, you're able to identify the things that you want to learn. Also, what do I need to move me from point A to point B? Some things may not be growth gaps. No, they could be growth gaps, but they are not development gaps as it may be. But they're just areas whereby this is something you desire, but you have a gap, meaning you need certain skills to help you move from that level to another level. So in that way, you're picking out the kind of things that you want to learn. Once we're able to figure out intentionally the things that we want to learn, next is, who do you want to listen to? This one is extremely key. I would say, if possible, go to your social media feeds to say, who exactly do I even want to be seeing on my feeds in the coming year? This is because what you listen to, whether what you're hearing or what you're reading, has a way it impacts you. Sometimes we are not even conscious of the impact that this kind of things have on you. If you know you don't want things that will put you under unnecessary pressure, things that increases your anxiety, it's a good time to start, shedding those things off. If you have to unfollow a particular channel, it's a good time to start doing it. Then who do you want to start following in order to keep your goal alive? Who do you want to start following so that you are reminded of the things that you want to do? Personally, I had certain things I wanted to achieve this year. In areas of accounting, I have goals that I want for my accounting career. What did I do? I started searching for people who were in that space where I wanted to be. And I started following them, looking at the things that they were doing, learning from what they do. I want to write more books. So what have I been doing? Following people who have been writing books, seeing how they go through the process. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you a personal story of today. I was listening to an amazing book writer, and he was talking about the story, how sometimes he wakes up in the morning like, 6 a.m., I'm going to write a book. And it's like 6 a.m. is like, okay, 6:10, he gets to his home office, and it's like, oh, it's cold, let me go get a different sweatshirt. And it's like the next 5 minutes is trying to figure out the kind of sweatshirt he's going to wear. Then it figures out like, oh, I don't think I'm in the mood. Let me go probably get a cup of coffee. And before you know what's happening, it's 6:30. And then before you know, it's like, okay, let me probably just check and put up a song to keep him motivated. And it's like, oh, should I just move to another TV channel? What is it trying to say? It's trying to say that, see, distractions come along the way. I'm not perfect, even though I'm writing a book. And yes, my book is the bestseller, but I have these days where I have to struggle. And what did that do to me? Because I've also had that situation whereby I want to write something, but I'm like, I don't, they call it a writer's block, right? I'm not really into it this morning. I'm not into it this day. But what has that also done to me to help me? It has also made me know that, oh, you can have these challenges, but you can still hit your goals. So the same thing is when you know what you want to learn, figuring out the people who are doing what you want to do. Once you're having them somewhere around your corner, their face, you're seeing them, or you're seeing their post, you're seeing their work. What is that doing to you? It is reminding you that, oh, this is something that is doable. And it's also very gracious when you see someone who can also share with you the downside, because most times on social media, we see more of the positive things. Oh, congratulations, I'm happy to announce I did this. I'm happy to announce that I did that. But not everybody every time show you the grind. So when you have that kind of people in your space whereby this is what I want to do, and I have someone who is doing it, and they can give you insight into the grind and the victory, that's extremely very helpful. So once again, I'll ask you, who do you want to listen to? What are the people you're listening to on YouTube? What are the people you're following on all the social media platforms? Who do you want to listen to, such that things are getting better for you, so that you are reaching your goal, so that you're seeing those possibilities? If you want to join a group of people where you know that I can go in there, I can listen to other people who are doing what I want to do, and it encourages me, that's definitely awesome. The third question I have here is, who do you want to be accountable to? Accountability is one of the ways that moves us to action. Who do you want to be accountable to? There are studies that are showing that when we're accountable to someone, when we're accountable to a group of people, we move faster in achieving our goal than when we just keep it to ourselves and without accountability. And why is it that? Because even as human nature, many times we don't want to disappoint others. We don't want to give people the wrong perception that, oh, we are not achieving what we want to achieve. So that when you know that you're going to meet someone and just check in on that person, right? What happens? You are like, okay, we have to do this work. I'll give you a couple of stories to just buttress the point of accountability. There was this executive coach who was doing a coaching session with a friend. I think a friend. I'm not sure whether it's a friend or a client. And this person was like, I want to start a podcast on family, but he's not like, am I ready? Am I not ready? And things like that. And then I think it's a friend kind of coaching session, something like that. And he said, okay, you know what? I'll give you this date to start the podcast. If you don't do this date, you're going to do this. So, but in this case, it was quite funny because he was saying, the coach in question was like, okay, you're going to buy me a drone if you don't do this podcast. Right. And the funny thing is, on that particular day, whereby if he doesn't do it, he's going to buy the other guy a drone. What did he do? He called his wife together and they both had that podcast done. Was it perfect? Absolutely. I know it wouldn't be perfect, but it took them to a place of action. And this can also be applied in many other areas. For example, I've put it out there, like I'm writing a book. Yes, I'm writing a book. A book is coming out. It's coming out next year. And I do have friends who check up on me. And I want to say a big shout out to my friend. His name is Vilaso. So Vilaso, thank you. If you happen to be watching this, thank you so, so much. He checks up on me and is like, how are we doing? How is your book? How is it going? And not just only him alone. At the other time I met a friend who in our faith circle in church, and she's like, do you have an editor? Do you have someone who is helping you edit your book? She was willing to offer that. And I'm like, oh yes, I already have an editor for this one. That's what happens when you make yourself accountable. Now, this particular two examples I've made personally for myself and my friends, this was even me sharing my goal openly to people, right? And I'm sure if you're also a listener, you're like, oh, Sandra, I can't wait to see the projects you're doing. How is it going and how is it doing? But if you don't have to probably share it publicly, but you still have to share it to certain people. You have to, and not just people that you know that will hold you accountable for it. So that's the place of accountability. Do you need to get a coach? If you do, yes, get a coach. Because what happens in a coaching session, I'm a coach. So what happens when I'm doing a coaching sessions? When the coachee is supposed to be doing something, they know that they are paying for the session. So monetary commitment is involved. That alone even moves people to action. Like, okay, what am I going to get out of this coaching session? If this is what I need to do, then I have to do it. So that's in the place of accountability. Accountability moves you further in achieving your goal. And sometimes we get into that perception of don't worry, I can figure it out myself. I'm a self-motivator. I used to be there because to a very large extent, I know I can be very self-driven. But what changed the ball for me was accountability, just having coaches around me. I have a personal development coach that helps me in terms of career-wise. And just because I know I have to meet with this person every 2 weeks, I'm like, no, we have to read this accounting guidance. We just have to read it because I have to bring something on the table. We have to get this assignment done. And it has really helped me as the person. And then also the kind of questions that I get from those sessions, it helps me to think and like, oh, should I be thinking of it differently? So that has also helped me. So if you want to get a coach to also help you accountable, beautiful, I would say go for it. Now the other one is the last one I'm going to stop here today is developing. Is who do you want to develop? Who do you want to develop? There are two parts when we look at leadership is developing yourself, which is what you're doing, listening to this podcast, this live session, as well as developing others. When you're developing yourself, I even call it self-care. Funny enough, that's what I call it. I call it self-care when I'm listening to something like that. I'm calling it self-care. You're developing yourself so that you can also be valuable to others. Now, how are you intentionally developing others? Because that's how you expand your influence. This is where growth becomes explosive when you're taking those actions to develop others. And the thing is, you have a lot inside of you that you can give to the world. Sometimes we don't know how much we know until we step in. There are days whereby I'm like, what do I even talk about today? And I just pick up my voice notes and I'm like, oh, this is what I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. And the thing is, as I just keep doing that, more ideas begin to flow. And I'm like, oh, I didn't even think about this, but this is really good. And I just keep on putting it out there. So you have a lot. And if you're wondering, okay, maybe you're feeling you're not sure. What are your skills? What are your experience? Those two things alone is something you can give to others. There's so much out there that we don't know about, right? Even how do I learn? How do I get a curious mindset to learn? It's because I understand that I don't know it all. There's so much out there. There's something that I don't know, obviously, right? What am I saying today? It will shock you that what I'm saying today, yes, some people, oh, we are experts in these things. We already know about this topic. But there are also people that like, oh, this is new to me, or I haven't thought of it from this perspective. And I do really appreciate what you do. For other people, it's even inspiring them to also come on board and do what they are created to do. So, what and how do you want to develop others? Who are the people that you want to develop? And the good thing about developing others is that the more you do it, the more you are also adding value to yourself. Many of you knew from the very first day when I said I made it out there, I was going to start doing this leadership series, this starting this LinkedIn Live. Definitely, it's not like what it is. You can even tell with my level of confidence has also increased over time. The first day that I started, opened the camera to do this, oh my goodness, I was shrinking. I could feel that, oh, I just have to do it because I'd made a commitment with my coach that I was going to step out. So I just had to do it. And after my first session, guys, where accountability comes in again, I submitted to him and said I did it. And I got his feedback. He sends me a video of someone and say, check this person up. This is a guy in history who has done what you're doing, and he did it excellently well. So that has pushed me. That has also made me a better person. Now there were so many challenges on the way. At some point, in fact, that was what led to opening a YouTube channel and every other thing. But you keep getting better. You don't get better until you start. So that's where I'm going to end today's session. Please, I want you to tell me something about it. If you find it amazing, you find it insightful, it helps me to continue to grow this channel and grow what I'm doing. Please leave me a comment section. Please like and share. So this is probably going to be my second to the last video, all things being equal, for this year. Next week, I'll upload one more video, and I'll probably take in the rest of the year to plan and prepare all the things that I'm learning. I also make sure that they are not, I'm not only applying them, but I keep applying them to my own life. So I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you for your attention and your time. Bye.